Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so this video has been long overdue. I wanted to do a video basically talking about some of the mistakes that I've made throughout my plant-based diet lifestyle. I went from eating a standard American diet in 2012 to a plant-based I've been eating this way for about 6 years. And I basically went into the lifestyle not because of health reasons or because of the animals or trying to save the planet or anything like that. I just basically wanted to lose a standard diet to a vegan plant-based diet. I lost about 30 pounds, and I would say I was eating a low carb diet at that time. I didn't realize, but I was eating a low carb, pretty much high fat, because I was cooking with oils, coconut oil and things like that, olive oil here and there, canola oil, any type of oil. I basically was cooking with it. So I would say probably about maybe a year and a half into eating that way, I realized, hey, we could start adding in some grains and some bread. We were already eating like tortillas, things like that. So I switched my whole family to eating a vegan diet. And okay, so now I would say about 2.5 years in, I decided to continue to do more research with eating this way, and I kind of got lost into the high carb, low fat community, and I started learning about eating high carb, starchivore, and I really loved it, enjoyed it, tried it out. We switched to doing that. We were eating a lot of potatoes, a lot of rice, brown rice, white rice, corn, tortillas, lots of beans. Oh my God. My husband bought me a pressure cooker, so I pretty much cooked with a pressure cooker every single day. We had rice, we had beans, some sort of bean, we ate it. So the mistakes that I would like to say is this might help somebody else out there that's going through the same thing. I didn't realize that because you're eating high carb, low fat, that really you should always, if you have any kind of weight loss sensitivity, you can't really lose weight, you really should be counting. You should eat well-balanced portion sizes, put it that way, or count your calories or something, just to kind of get an idea of what you're eating. So now what I've been doing is keeping a food diary, which has helped me out tremendously, and I'll get back to that. So what happened is I was eating way too much food. I constantly could not get enough of food. I felt like I was hungrier. I just wanted to eat all the time. My portion sizes grew to small portions, average portions to big plates of food. I would have bowls of rice with beans, with chickpeas, with lentils, however you name it, I was eating it. I wasn't drinking as much water because at that time I was working, so it was hard for me to get a lot of water in throughout the day. I was definitely not exercising. I didn't keep a food diary. I wasn't tracking my calories, and I was eating a lot of salt on the high carb. And so what I'm realizing is that for me, too much grains equaled too much insulin spike in my blood, which caused me to hold on to weight and the weight to turn to fat. So I would say going from 120, going from 135, 140 to down to 120, I started gaining weight. When I went to work after like almost 14 years of not being a stay-at-home mom, and I finally started working, my weight was around 127 pounds. I would say within the matter of 6 months of working, I went from 127 to about 138. That was like my average weight. And then now, currently, the highest weight I've been a couple of months ago is 151 pounds. So I'm like, what is going on? Is it my metabolism? Am I getting older? And then I kept saying, well, maybe I'm just getting older. So then I started having issues with my gut. My stomach was starting to hurt. Like I remember experiencing this some years ago, right around the time when I started basically switching to starchivore, eating a lot of potatoes and things. I had the same symptoms, and it lasted me for about a month and a half, and I just kept blowing it off like, oh, it's nothing, and then it just went away, and then years later it's back again. Well, it's gone now, completely gone. But what happened, what made me figure out it was the food, it was eating a high carb diet, is because the same issues came back, and my husband was like, you need to keep a food journal everything, I started writing down all the foods that I was eating, and then something told me to start doing research on the types of foods, which were a lot of beans. I was, cooking a lot of beans, a lot of legumes, a lot of starchy vegetables, starchy grains, like I ate a lot of rice, like I just told you, I ate all that stuff. Then I realized that my insulin, I learned about insulin because of the estrogen and all that hormone called insulin spikes your blood sugar, prevents you from ever attacking your fat stores, and keeps you hungry pretty much, and keeps you just holding on to weight. And so that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to cut this out of my diet. So as soon as I started basically cutting out all the stuff that I was eating, which majority was beans and rice every single day, I felt amazingly better. I didn't have the issues, and then I didn't really relate it to that as much. Still, I started, I think we went to a family dinner or something, and I had some lentils, and I had some peanuts, and just the little things that I was eating throughout the day, the days, and I started having those issues again. And then something made me find out a little bit more about beans and what they had in them, and I learned about lectins, and lectins took me to the plant paradox, and learning about the plant paradox, learning about certain types of nightshades and foods that you can actually have issues with, allergens and things like that can actually cause you to have eventually have autoimmune diseases, certain things that can contribute to it, and that can actually harm your digestive system. And I think that's what was happening. So I ended up going to the doctor. I had been eating that way for probably 3 weeks, where I cut out all the stuff, and I didn't have the issues much more than that. And then basically went to the doctor, and the doctor told me it was the food, cut out what to cut out, too much of this causing me to have a gluten intolerance and things like that. So I cut those things out. So anyway, I'm not going to get too much deep into that, but I just wanted to hit on that, why I no longer am doing high carb, low fat. I basically have cut those foods out of my diet for, it's been now over a month, and I have lost, about 7 pounds. I feel like the fat is slowly coming off, and I'm slowly getting back to my body the way it used to look. So I'm thinking it's probably going to take me about a good year to get my body back to the way it was before I went to high carb. It takes a while to put it on, and then it's going to take a while to get it off, because it's just how it is, since I'm not real active in working out. So what else I want to tell you guys? So I realized also that if you're going to do any of those diets they work. It's just up to you how you want to do it. But I figured, if you're going to do high carb, you definitely got to do low fat, and you definitely got to do low salt, because you can't mix it all up. You will definitely gain weight like I was doing. Even doing high carb doesn't mean you can eat an endless amount of calories. Definitely not. And and another thing is, with the calorie tracker that I've been doing, the app, I found out I was eating over 2,000 calories a day. 2,000, and then I was eating about 400 to 500 carbs a day. So I was like, oh my God, I could not believe how crazy that looked when I was keying in the numbers, and that's not even all what I was eating throughout the day. So some days I was eating way more calories than that, and way more carbs, because I would have some chips here and there. I would have a little bit more French bread here and there. Cabbage, regular vegetables, big serving portion sizes. Just crazy food. So could probably eat over 3,000 calories in a day, easy, normal. That was on a normal day. And, you know, I think my mom kept thinking I was eating junk food. People kept thinking, oh, you just got to cut out junk. But I'm telling you, I ate healthy, but I was eating high carbs in Elizabeth. I wasn't counting that. I wasn't counting, the only thing that I was counting as far as calories were processed foods. I was thinking that I could just not worry about the grains, the greens, not worry about that, especially the greens. So I learned, it took this gaining 30 extra pounds, I think I've gained, gosh, you know, to get to this point in my life. Thank God I cut those foods out, because I would probably be on my way to having some kind of illness, you know, with my gut. You know, it was just a constant pain, but not really solid, hardcore pain, but just I can't explain it. It just did not feel comfortable. And then I found out that I was backed up, meaning that I think I was eating way too much carbs that was turning to sugar that wasn't moving through my digestive tract. So now my system is getting back to normal. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm not hungry like I was. My blood sugar is stable because I'm eating more vegetables, more lectin free. I'm eating from the plant paradox, and I'm not going to go into the plant paradox. If you want to know about the plant paradox, type in the plant paradox by Dr. Gundry. It does seem a bit extreme, if you know, but if you have a bit of issues like I had, you might want to just try a little bit of everything and see what works for you. And I'm not saying that I'm cutting out grains for good forever, because I'm not. I'm just doing what I got to do to heal myself, which I feel like I have. The issues are gone. My weight gain is, you know, I'm slowly losing the weight now. I'm losing that bloated look I had. I'm looking a little bit more lean. I feel a stable source of energy. My energy is up. Not that it was terribly down, but I can now look back and see how after eating certain meals, I would get really tired and sleepy, you know. Now I don't have that. And I noticed that if I do tend to have that feeling of sleepiness, that's because I've had something that I shouldn't have had, like, you know, extra tortilla, which spiked my blood sugar or something, you know, or a bar of, I've been eating those gluten-free health bars. I'll have one a day sometimes. But I noticed that my sweet tooth is not as harsh as it was. Like I had this crazy sweet tooth, eating high carbs. For some reason, I felt like I wanted sugar, and now I feel like I can control myself with that. So when doing high carbs, that was what I said, to cut the salt out. Now I'm doing, if you're wondering, like, what am I doing now? Well, I'm doing a low carb, high fat diet. And it's crazy because I really believed in that whole no oil, no fat. And it's true. You really shouldn't do a lot of oil when there's certain types of oil, and also if you're eating a high carb way of eating, if you're eating a lot of beans and rice and a lot of carbs, you shouldn't do oils, because of that, it just can't mix. You can't mix all that together. It just does not do well in your body. It can cause you to have issues. But when you take out and you lower your carbs, like I went from about 500 carbs a day to 100, maybe averaging sometimes 75, at the most maybe 150 carbs a day, not going over that, I'm starting to lose weight and I feel good. So an average day for me of eating, these are the foods that I have been eating a lot of. I eat a lot of broccoli, a lot of cauliflower, a lot of okra, a lot of collards. Let's see, what else do I eat? Gosh, it's hard to name stuff now that I'm on the spot. I don't do tomatoes right now for a while. I definitely don't do beans. I don't do rice. If I have bread, I try not to do it as often, maybe 2 pieces of tortillas, but even that, I try to make sure I just be careful with that. Let's see, what else am I doing? I said cauliflower, sweet potatoes, carrots. I don't do a lot of sweet potatoes though, because, you know, I'm trying to, you know, watch my sugar. I don't want my insulin to spike too much the other day, but I eat stuff like that when I crave it. If I want it, you know, then I'll have it. I'll use it for certain recipes. I still can make a lot of the great meals that I was making. Vegan meatloaf, lasagna, shepherd's pie. I often make that for my husband. Soups, veggie burgers. I still can make a lot of the same foods. I wish I had a list on me, but I don't have a list right now showing you, telling you some of the foods that I do eat. I don't eat a lot of like bell peppers. I don't eat that right now. I basically have cut out a lot of foods that have a lot of lectins and seeds and things. I don't do fruit as much as I was doing in the beginning of eating this way. I was eating a lot of berries, strawberries, and blueberries, blackberries. I try to eat what's in season, basically. Put it that way, eating what's in season. I don't do corn anymore. I definitely do a lot of olive oil, and let's see. I don't suffer from the bloated stomach. What's crazy is that I had a tummy tuck 2 years ago, and I kept trying to figure out like what's going on with my stomach. My stomach was just so bloated all the time. It was hurting. It was hard. I could see some bulges, and now looking back, I think that's where you can tell where your colon and everything is extended, where you really should be going to the bathroom. Now I know the signs of what to look for when they did the x-rays and, you know, told me that I was basically just full of compacted mush stuff that was making me hurt. So I don't have the issues. I've been doing colonics on and off here and there. Not as much as I should be. I should be doing some more, but that takes a lot of time and preparation. Sometimes I get lazy. So anyway, the digestive issues have cleared up. Let's see, anything I can... So I feel like I've reduced my cravings. I'm reducing my body fat. My mom, my brother noticed. I've had a couple of people notice outside of my family that seem like I'm losing weight. And to them, it seems like it's drastic. But to me, I can't see it. I can see that I've lost a little of the bloat. So evidently that weird bloated look that you get when you're eating, you know, too much salt and too much other crap. So that's what I wanted to talk about, is basically why I don't do high carb, low fat anymore. I am doing a low carb, high fat diet. And I basically I'm still keeping track of what I eat every single day. I write down, I don't care if it's a piece of candy or something I'm not supposed to have, I track it. I'm tracking everything, and I average about 1,000, let's see, when I'm not overeating or eating as much, I tend to overeat, or not, let me see, I tend to eat more on the weekends, I noticed. So my calories can go up to 1,000, maybe 300 and something, 400 calories, something like that. That's when I'm not really, you know, just trying to eat with my family and stuff like that, and we're just having a good time eating at home. We don't eat out. We hardly eat out. Like, we probably eat out maybe once every 2 months or something, maybe. Let's see, what else can I tell you guys? As far as salt, I don't even restrict my sodium. I don't restrict the oil. Like I said, I don't do corn. I don't do rice. I don't do beans anymore. I took that out of my diet. I have this really good recipe for making vegan cauliflower crumbles, taco style, like to make the cauliflower taste more like a meat. So delicious. I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I eat it. Like I shouldn't be eating it because it's so tasty. But usually when I make that, I'll have a tortilla or two, at least 2 tortillas. And I usually save something like that for the weekends, but I have had it throughout the weekdays. But so carbs are very, very, very minimal. Like say, for instance, cabbage. If I have maybe 3-4 cups of cabbage during the day, or 5 cups, that's probably maybe 10-12 carbs for the day. And then I don't do green beans. I haven't done well, kind of started back eating green beans a little because I make for the kids, but I don't do as much green beans as I used to. Not that something's wrong with green beans, but you know, like I told you guys, I try to avoid lectin-based foods, certain things. So I cut out a lot of things that you know, everybody, you know, you think they're healthy. They are healthy, but sometimes you can have certain allergies and you need to cut certain types of things that produce certain types of allergens out or in your body. Cut it out. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. Just kind of keep the comment section open for that. And these are mistakes that I've made, maybe some mistakes that you've made. And like I said, one thing that's crazy is that I don't do fruit. If I'm craving fruit, I'll eat it, but I really don't eat fruit on a daily basis like I used to. I think I've had fruit once this week, maybe once, and I think I had maybe 2 cups of strawberries frozen, and I made some sorbet, frozen sorbet. Don't eat apples. Like, I loved apples. I love peanut butter. I don't do nut butters or anything like that. I was doing a lot of that on the high carb too. So when you think about the calories in that, it's crazy when you think about when I think about how many calories I was eating on a daily basis. Like, that's why I was gaining weight within a year. I put on 30 pounds. So however much, just say from 127 to 151, however, whatever that is, that's a lot. So now I'm at 142, whatever that is, 7, 8, 9 pounds, I don't know. Now 142. So if I can get back to whatever my normal weight, we'll see. So it's been a month now. I've been eating this way, eating a low carb diet. Sometimes I've tried to do keto with it, keto vegan. But keto is definitely a harder way to eat when you're doing plant-based vegan lifestyle, because your diet consists of vegan foods or whole foods. So it's hard to do low carb because you're eating carbs all day. So I just focus on eating a low carb, healthy way of eating, just whole foods. And if the only thing that I'm taking in processed a day is a health bar, which averages about 100 and maybe 70 calories, and maybe 27 grams of carbs, however. But carbs throughout the day, like I said, I try to not go over 150 compared to I was eating, about 500 carbs a day and over 3,000 calories a day. So, and now my calorie intake averages around 1,000, maybe 300, I don't know. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'll try to do more updates and let you guys know how I'm coming along with this low carb, high fat diet. All right. So, and I haven't even had breakfast yet. And I'm still drinking on some coffee. I haven't even gotten hungry. But when I get ready to eat, you know, I'll probably cook up some cabbage. I usually shred up some cabbage, mushrooms. I eat a lot of mushrooms. I gotta tell you that. And I eat a lot of cauliflower. That is like the bulk of my diet, the staple of my diet. All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later in another video.